and enjoy a fun day of reading. Thank you. Oh, before I release you, I need your parents to do me a favor and get the purple book that they received. Get the purple book. Let me get to gallery view. And I want you all to hold it up so that we are able, I don't know how to make it big.
I can get a picture, Miss Braswell.
Huh?
I said I can take the picture.
Miss Clark. Yeah, please do. The picture up, boys and girls. Go get your
Y'all turn on your cameras, please. We can get your pic so we can.
And we really need your parents because I'm going to tell them something about the book that I want.
Hey, I got McKelly and Mariah here, so my book is side by side.
Okay, that's fine. Just hold your book up though, so that we can get a picture. And this is for Title 1.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheers. All right.
Now, parents, if you can open to page 5, I want you to pay really close attention to 2 things. Zoom etiquette. So if you have a kindergarten through 2nd grade scholar, we focused in on setting up their learning environment. I want you all to focus in on Zoom etiquette. Zoom is the platform that we currently use as our learning management system. And so page 3 is what K through 2nd grade parents are focusing in on. So if you want to go back and if you're wondering, how do I set up this learning space for my children to maximize their learning opportunities? Page 3 is going to be your best friend. There are some things that I've highlighted on page 3 because it is phenomenal. At the very bottom are things that you should consider when creating a workspace at home. So I did want to point those things out, as well as your focus is Zoom etiquette. Sometimes we can struggle. Our backgrounds can be a bit loud, causing a distraction to the learning environment. So definitely take time to read those, parents. Thank you. If you don't have a book, we have them for every parent at the school. So you can stop by and pick up that book if you did not get one with me pack. Thank you.
All right. Let me share my screen again. Thank you so much, Miss Braswell. All right. So we're going to start off awesome message. Let's make sure everybody's devices are muted, please. All right. This video that Dr. Catlett, our deputy superintendent, did for us, and it is all about the importance of literacy, why reading is essential. This video is going to introduce a little bit about who Dr. Catlett is and what he does in the district. And then he's also going to talk to you about why he thinks reading is so important.
Hello, I'm Ricky Catlett, Deputy Superintendent, Jackson-Madison County School System. Let me tell you why teaching literacy is important. 1 in 3 children start kindergarten without the skills they need to read. Thank you, Lincoln, for making an effort to change this. 1 child is too many. Research tells us teaching reading helps with brain development. It also gives children the ability to make connections between life experiences. Learning to read creates important pathways our Lincoln scholars will use later in life to learn vital skills and information. Lincoln staff, thank you for giving our future leaders the power to read. Lincoln, never stop reading.
So thankful for Dr. Catlett recording this message for us and taking time out of his busy schedule to share with us the importance of literacy and why reading is essential. So let's give him a hand together real quick. We're going to post this on Class Dojo, on Facebook, everywhere, and be thankful just for that message. All right, so the next person I'm going to introduce this evening is on the call, and she was here last. So fun. We had the best time talking to her. And anyway, I'm just going to play the video because it does a much better job introducing her. This is Miss Libby Hinson, screenplay writer for The Magic School Bus and many, many more.
I was a good sport about crossing the toilet. I really was. But no way am I crossing a tub filled with alligators.
Oh.
All right, so let's give a warm welcome from Lincoln to Miss Henson. She reads to us. She's going to share some cool stuff. So Miss Henson, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and spotlight you. Let me find you. All right, and I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Click on the microphone button. It should be at the bottom of your screen. There we go.
Yep. I
You're
did
good
that.
to go.
Okay.
Got you spotlighted, so you got the show.
I'm here at school and I'm teaching now. And I am a big reader. I love to read. And I've loved to read since I was younger than you are. Since I was in kindergarten, I love to read. And I love to read because reading gives me a chance to go to places I've never been and to meet people in history I've never met, and to learn about, not just to learn about, to experience people and places and times I've never been in. So that's why I love to read. And I love to read so much. I've been collecting books all my life, and I have over 10,000 books. And the other day I bought 3 books, so I have over 10,003 books now. And I'm still collecting. So I just think books are about the best things in the world. I don't like reading on Kindles because I like the feel of a book in your hand. And today I have the Magic School Bus. And I wrote the scripts for the television show, but they were originally derived from the original books by Joanne Cole and Bruce Deegan. And I wrote an episode called Shooting Stars, which came from the Lost in the Solar System book, which we're going to read a little bit of tonight. So let's get going. I'm not going to read the reports. I'm just going to read the story. So if you want, you can take it out of the library and read the reports too. It was trip day again in Ms. Frizzle's class. Everyone was excited. We were going to the planetarium to see a sky show about the solar system. Class, an orbit is the path of a planet or other objects around the sun. I knew that. I get all A's in school. I have 5 computers. My class went to the planetarium last year. What a show off. Thanks for inviting your cousin, Arnold. She's actually nice when you get to know her. Arnold's cousin Janet was visiting our class for the day. Guest, said the Frizz. Oh. Uh-oh. Hang on one second. Yikes. Page turning crisis. Okay, here we go. We tried to be nice to Janet. We really did. We got on the school bus. We told her that Ms. Frizzle is the weirdest teacher in school, but Janet wasn't interested. She wanted to tell us about herself. My school is taller than your school. Our swings are better than your swings. My teacher is weirder than your teacher. Who wants a tall school? As usual, it took a while to get the old bus started, but we finally were on our way. As we were driving, Ms. Frizzle told us all about how the Earth spins like a top as it moves in its orbit. It was just a short drive to the planetarium, but Ms. Frizzle talked fast. This bus is a wreck. At least it started this time. We have new school buses at our school. When the Earth spins, we say it rotates. The Earth makes one rotation turn every day. This is not a good angle for page turning, guys. Okay. When we got close to the planetarium, it was closed for repairs. Class, this means we have to return to school, said the Frizz. We were so disappointed. Back to school, I'm so depressed. My planetarium is always open. On the way back, as we were waiting at a red light, something amazing happened. The bus started tilting back and we heard the roar of rockets. Oh dear, said Ms. Frizzle. We seem to be blasting off. Here we go again. Not another crazy trip. Children, we are going through the atmosphere, the layers of air around the Earth. I guess we'll be seeing the solar system after all. My bus has bigger rockets than your bus. Yeah, right, Janet. When the roar of the rockets stopped, we looked around. Everything had changed. The bus into a spaceship. We were all dressed in spacesuits and we were lighter than feathers. We floated above our seats. I'm flying higher than you are. Look, it's a UFB. A what? An unidentified flying banana. Far behind in the black sky, we saw the planet Earth getting smaller and smaller. We were traveling in space. We had become astronauts. Look how small the Earth seems from here. Class, notice Earth's blue oceans, white clouds, and brown land. It's beautiful. I think I have to go to the bathroom. The Frizz said our first stop would be the moon. We got off the bus and looked around. There was no air, no water, no signs of life. All we saw were dust and rocks and lots of crater. Miss Frizzle said the craters were formed billions of years ago when the moon was hit by meteorites. Meteorites are falling chunks of rock and metal. We're so light on the moon. That's because the moon has less gravity than the Earth. And they have over here a weight chart that compares how heavy you are on Earth and the different planets. So if you take it out of the library, you can check all these things. You're lighter on the moon than you are on the Earth. It was fun on the moon. We wanted to play, but Ms. Frizzle said it was time to go. So we got back on the bus. We'll start with the sun, the center of the solar system, said the Frizz, and we blasted off. Look how high we can jump. I was in a national jump rope contest. I won, of course. Is there a national bragging contest? We zoomed toward the sun, the biggest, brightest, and hottest object in the solar system. Jets of super hot gases shot out at us from the surface. Thank goodness Ms. Frizzle didn't get too close. You should never look directly at the sun, children. It can damage your eyes. You should never drive a bus directly into the sun either. Solar flares are huge explosions on the sun's surface. See, this is what solar flares look like. She steered around to the other side and pulled away. We'll be seeing all the planets in order, class, explained Frizzy. Mercury is the first planet, the closest to the sun. My school is heated with solar energy. I have a sun deck. I have 10 pairs of sunglasses. Give us a break, Janet. Sunspots are areas that are cooler than the rest of the sun. You can see how it's black as opposed to yellow and orange. Mercury was a dead, sun-baked planet. This planet is a lot like our moon. There is no water and hardly any air, said the Frizz. Notice the craters on its surface as we pass by. The sun looks so much bigger than it does from Earth. That's because Mercury is so close. Too close. Let's go. Before long, we felt ourselves being pulled in by the gravity of Venus, the second planet from the sun. Venus was completely covered by a thick layer of yellowish clouds. We will now explore the surface of Venus, said Miss Frizzle. We're gaining weight and we haven't even had lunch. We will be heavier here than on the moon or Mercury because Venus has more gravity. So if you look on our scale here, your Earth weight is 85 pounds and Mercury weight is 32 pounds. And if you look here, Earth weight is 85 pounds and Venus weight is 77 pounds. Below the clouds, Venus was as dry as a desert. The ground was covered with rocks and it was hot. It was about 460 degrees Celsius. That's much hotter than an oven baking cookies. There's no life on Venus, class. It's too hot. It's too dry. There's too much acid. Let's leave. The air was so heavy, we could feel it pressing down on us. Miss Frizzle said there might be active volcanoes around too. We said, let's get out of here. Our next stop is Mars, the red planet, fourth from the sun, announced the Frizz. On our way, we'll be passing through the orbit of Earth, the third planet. The bus lifted off with a roar. I've been to Mars lots of times. Just ignore her. As we came close to Mars, we passed its two moons, which are called Phobos and Deimos. Compared to our moon, they were tiny and they weren't even round. This is Phobos, it's 18 miles long. This is Deimos, it's 9 miles long. There's a volcano here. Long ago, there was water in those channels, but today, Mars's water is frozen in the polar ice caps and in the channels. Those are moons. They look like potatoes with craters. Did everybody know that there was recently we had a rover that landed on Mars? That's something you can look into. Looking down, we saw a huge canyon. Ms. Frizzle said it was as long as the United States. There was a volcano 3 times taller than the tallest volcano on Earth. And all around, there were channels that looked like dried up riverbeds. Ice can be found under the soil. There's a polar ice cap here. There's a canyon here that she's talking about, the channels. Earth is the best place for life. That's why I live here. Janet likes to be the best. We noticed. Sorry, I did it in the wrong voice. We landed and started walking around. Suddenly, a huge dust storm blew up. Miss Frizzle said dust storms on Mars can last for months. They may cover the whole planet. We scrambled back on the bus and headed out. Are there any aliens here? I don't see any. Don't be too sure. Mars is the last of what we call the inner planets, Miss Frizzle shouted above the roar of the rockets. We will now be going through the asteroid belt to the outer planets. Uh-oh, sorry. Remind me later. Isn't space travel exciting, Arnold? I really prefer video games. Thousands of asteroids were spinning all around us. All at once, we heard the tinkling of broken glass. One of our taillights had been hit by an asteroid. Miss Frizzle put the bus on autopilot and went out to take a look. She kept on talking about asteroids over the bus radio. The largest asteroid is only 1/3 the size of our moon. Most asteroids are the size of houses or smaller. I wish she'd come inside. Suddenly, there was a snap. Ms. Frizzle's tether line had broken. Without warning, the rockets fired up and the bus zoomed away. The autopilot was malfunctioning. On the radio, Ms. Frizzle's voice grew fainter and fainter. Then she was gone. We were on our own. We were lost in the solar system. Kids, I'll meet you later, later. Come in, Ms. Frizzle. Do you read me? Most of us were too scared to move, but Janet started searching the bus. In the glove compartment, she found Ms. Frizzle's lesson book. As she began reading from it, a huge planet came into view. Class, this is Jupiter, Janet read. It's the first of the outer planet and the largest planet in the solar system. She shouldn't touch Ms. Frizzle's thing, but this is an emergency. Boy, Ms. Frizzle plans everything. As we approach Jupiter, we can see some of its many moons. Arnold, are you listening? We thought the school bus was going to land, but there was no solid ground to land on. Jupiter is a gas giant, a planet made almost entirely of gas. As we left Jupiter, we wondered and worried, would we ever get home? There's a giant red spot on Jupiter. Jupiter is so big that more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside. Ms. Frizzle, where are you? The next sight made us forget all our troubles. It was Saturn, a gas planet like Jupiter. It had swirling clouds and lots of moons, but the most incredible thing about Saturn was its rings. It was the most beautiful planet in the solar system. There are thousands of rings around Saturn, class. They look like grooves in an old phonograph record. Saturn is the grooviest planet, man. Rocks and ice and dust, that's what all the rings are made out of. Next was Uranus, a blue-green gas planet with faint gray rings and moons. Some scientists think they might be made of chunks of graphite, the materials used in pencils on Earth. And shows you what you can learn when you read, because the other day I was reading, I found out that Uranus smells really bad. Methane gas in its atmosphere makes Uranus look blue. You kind of look blue yourself. I'm freezing. That's because we're so far away from the sun. The bus was going faster and faster, and we couldn't control the autopilot. We swept past stormy Neptune, another blue-green planet, 8th from the sun. All we could think about was finding Ms. Frizzle. Neptune is the last of the giant gas planets. We're almost out of gas ourselves, and the nearest service station is 4,000 million kilometers away. We were going so fast, we almost missed seeing Pluto and its moons. Charon is the biggest one, and Hydra and Nix are smaller. We were so far away from the sun that it didn't look big anymore. It just looked like a very, very bright star. I don't know anything but stars. Another star may have life on one of its planets. We'll have to wait and see. I hope Miss Frizzle is waiting too. Janet flipped rapidly through Ms. Frizzle's book. Suddenly, she found something new. The instructions for the autopilot. She punched an asteroid belt on the control panel. Slowly, the bus turned around. It was working. We were going back. Janet really saved the day. I told you she was a good kid. When we reached the asteroid belt, there was Ms. Frizzle. Hey, that asteroid is dressed funny. That's not an asteroid, it's Ms. Frizzle. Boy, am I glad to see her. Me too. With Frizzy back at the wheel, the bus headed straight for Earth. We re-entered the atmosphere, landed with a thump, and looked around. Boys and girls, we are arriving on Earth, the third planet from the sun. We were in the school parking lot again. The rockets were gone. The spacesuits were gone. The bus was a wreck. Everyone was hello, old friend. In the classroom, we made a terrific chart of the planets and a mobile of the solar sun. That's something you could do in class. And here's the planet chart with how big across it is, how long one rotation takes, how long a year is, how far it is from the sun, how many known moons, and are there rings? At last, it was time to go home. It had been a typical day in Ms. Frizzle's class. Now we had only one problem. Would anyone ever believe us when we told about our trip? We went to outer space today. Of course you did, dear. My favorite planet was Jupiter. No, maybe Mars. Of course, Saturn was gorgeous too. Mom, make him stop. And there was Ms. Frizzle floating among the asteroids. What an imagination. We could have been lost in space forever. Eat your salad, honey. Attention readers, do not attempt this trip on your own school bus. 3 reasons why not. Attaching rockets to your school bus will upset your teacher, the school principal, and your parents. It will not get you into orbit anyway. An ordinary school bus cannot travel in outer space, and you cannot become astronauts without years of training. 2, landing on certain planets may be dangerous to your health. Even astronauts cannot visit Venus, it's too hot. Mercury, it's too close to the sun. Or Jupiter, its gravity would crush human beings. People cannot fly to the sun either. Its gravity and heat would be too strong. 3, space travel could make you miss dinner with your family for the rest of your childhood. Even if a school bus could go to outer space, it could never travel through the entire solar system in one day. It took years for the Voyager space probes to do that. On the other hand, if a red-haired teacher in a funny dress shows up at your school, start packing.
Thank you so much, Ms. Henson. I love that book. That's one of my favorites.
I love it too.
That's so funny. So, Ms. Henson, I'm going to talk to the kids for just a second. Taylor, I know you have a question. Hold on one second, okay? Let's everybody mute so that we can make sure everyone gets a chance to ask, because we got lots of other cool stuff going on this evening, okay? All right, so here's what I would like you to do. Let me tell you really quick again who Ms. Henson is. She wrote a lot of your favorite shows. She helped make sure they happened. She like picked the pictures out and said what order things was going to happen in and stuff like Winnie the Pooh, He-Man, Clifford the Big Red Dog, which is one of my favorites, and of course the Magic School Bus, and a lot of the other things that I showed you on the video. There's so much more. If you just Google her name, there's so many things that she helped to create, and that's a job that you guys could have one day. So if you have any questions for her, we have time for 2 questions. You can type your question in the chat because there's so many of you guys on. Unfortunately, we can't unmute and ask them. So if you can type your question in the chat, and then I'll select 2 to ask, okay? Go ahead and type your question in the chat. And I'll let you know what they say, Miss Henson, so you can sit back and relax.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the chat. I was like, oh, okay.
Nope, you're good. We will. And the good news is we got the big kids today, so they're used to doing this in my class. Taylor just wants you to know you're amazing.
Oh, you're so
That's so sweet. That's one of my daughters. Good job. Okay. Anybody else have a question?
Well, how do you get to the chat?
Okay, so who is that? Jada? Jada, go ahead and just ask your question since you're having trouble.
Uh-oh. What happened?
That's okay. I still hear you. You're good. Go ahead and ask the question.
How did the teacher get flown away?
How did Miss Frizzle get flown away? Yes.
Well, she's kind of magical, and she decided they were going to go into outer space, so she kind of magicked them away.
Wow.
She has
Good
magic,
question, Jada.
but you know,
Michael, I'm
you
so
know how
sorry.
a lot of people get places is with their imagination. My daughter used to go to Hogwarts in her imagination, and none of her classmates could quite figure that out. And her teacher got really mad at her and almost kicked her out of kindergarten because she kept on going to Hogwarts at weekends and at nights. And her dad and I got called into school because she kept on telling everybody she went to Hogwarts, and she went to Hogwarts on weekends and at nights, but it was in her imagination. So you can go a lot of places. That's why reading's so exciting, because you can go a lot of places in your imagination once you've read a lot of things, and you can tell stories. And that's how I started writing, is because once I had a lot of imagination and I could say, what if this happens? And what if this happens? Then you start making up not stories, you don't want to lie, but you can make up stories and start telling stories and writing them down.
Super cool. One of the kids wanted to know, one of our scholars, Michael said, how long did it take you to make Clifford the Big Red Dog?
Okay, to make an episode, Clifford the Big Red Dog was a big long series. It takes about 3 weeks to a month to make an episode, half an hour episode of a show. I was also doing sound editing on those shows, which means when a cartoon comes back from the animators, the people who paint and make the show, the cartoonists, it comes back without any sound except the voices. So somebody has to come in and put all the sound into the TV show, because all there are the paintings and the pictures. So somebody has to come in, and when Clifford puts his paws down, somebody has to come in and put in the paw thumps, right? Because all that you see is the pictures of Clifford, but you don't hear him. You can't hear anything. So somebody has to come in and put in all the noises. So that's one of the things I worked on in the second half of my career. I'm now in the third half of my career, but I'm not good at fractions. Don't ask me.
And then the kids also, ma'am, go ahead, Miss Braswell.
At the very end, after you ask the kids questions, I do have one question that I want to ask in case a kid don't ask it.
Okay, I'm just gonna make this comment real quick, Ms. Braswell, based on what the chat says, and then you can go right ahead. Elena and several of them are saying thank you for working on those shows because they like all of those shows and they think that's really cool you did that.
But you want to know how to tell a story. I'm going to teach you exactly the things I teach my students in college. How to tell a story is you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And at the beginning, you put your character in a tree. In the second part, you throw apples at him and then you get out of the tree. That's a good story, because you have a character who just starts out going along his life, and then you put conflict in his life, which is throwing apples at him, and then you get him out of the tree. So that's a complete story. So that's what I teach my students.
I'm going to use that in class, Miss Henson, because our 5th graders are getting ready to write a book all about the rainforest. They're going to create their own narrative based on that. So 5th graders plan, everybody else under that, because y'all going to see me eventually. Please remember that.
Beginning, middle, and an end.
Yes.
And if you can't think of what to write about, think of any object or anything and think of what ifs. And think of, when I get writer's block and I can't get out of it, I think of where am I stuck? And then I think of the most crazy what if I can think of. What if a meteor fell on the table I'm sitting at? What would happen? And then you can think of 14 different things that would happen. And then you go back to your original problem and it clears out the cobwebs. So you always have to be thinking of what if. What if this happened? What if that happened? You can always solve writer's blocks with what ifs.
That's such great advice. I love that. Miss Braswell, can you ask your question? That is so cool.
So on yesterday, you shared with our scholars how you actually develop the events in the Magic School Bus. So I was wanting you to share that with this group of children.
So when you're a writer, you're not always a scientist, right? Because some people like things more than, some of you like math better and science better than you like reading and writing, right? Some people are STEM people, some people are writers and readers, and some, hopefully we're everything, but sometimes you're not. So, but we weren't trained to be scientists. So what we had is we had scientists come in to a big table, a big conference room, and they would present the subjects. So if we were doing the solar system, they would come in and they would tell us all about what we needed to know about the solar system one day. And then the next day it was all about spiders. And then the next day it was all about structures. And it was fun. They'd tell us all about, one day when we worked on structures, they were telling us how triangles are really strong in structure. So they wanted to show us that. So they brought gumdrops and toothpicks and they had us build bridges. And we learned that if you build bridges like this out of gumdrops and toothpicks, they're not very strong. But if you build your bridges like triangles together, they're really strong. So in the morning, we had the scientists come and tell us about science, and then they'd go away. In the afternoon, we'd take the information we had and then make up a story about the science that we learned. And we tried to say, well, what if this happened? What if the Magic School Bus shrunk and all of a sudden the kids are in the bathroom and can't get out of the bathroom? So they have to make structures to help them get out of the bathroom. And then, okay, what if we put an alligator in the bathtub? And oh, what happens if the shampoo spills on the floor and they have to get up onto the toilet and cross the toilet? And oh my gosh, they have to build a bridge across the toilet, and then they have to get from the toilet to the sink. And now, you keep on making the what ifs to make it more and more complicated, which are the apples that you're throwing at your characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that they have to overcome in the second part. In the second part.
So helpful. So helpful, because kids ask all the time, how do I write a story? And we have a lot of kids that love to make comics and write little stories. Real quick, raise your hand if you ever write stories.
If you ever want me to come in and talk to the class about helping to write stories, I'd be happy to.
Yes, I'm gonna email you. We're gonna schedule it. It's gonna happen. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Scholars, so let's go ahead and give Miss Henson a hand and thank her so much for taking time out of her schedule to talk to us. It was so interesting, and we will talk soon. Somebody unmuted. Say it one more time. I didn't hear you. I think someone said thank you.
Thank you.
She
Thank
did.
you.
I thought so.
Keep reading and keep writing. The most important thing you can do to become better writers is to become better readers.
Amen to that. Thank you so much. All right. Bye, Miss Libby. Thank you.
Look forward to seeing y'all again. You can say bricks. You absolutely can. In fact, in my class, I say rocks, but since you're in between 3rd and 5th grade, I think probably it's a better idea, a more correct idea to say apples. But yes, in my class, I say rocks. They're for college kids. You are 3rd to 5th graders. Apples are a better plan. If you're going to throw something, apples are probably softer.
Yep, that is
Or
true.
snowballs. Snowballs are good too, as long as you don't put rocks in the snowballs. But yes, Michael, you could, theoretically. Depends how deadly you wish to be. So yes, Michael, you are correct. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, I'm going to turn it back over. How cool was that, everybody? Did you enjoy it? So cool, right? She's going to come see us again. I'm
Yes.
Miss Faust, for sure. Okay, so look, it is 5:43 and I want us to make sure we are on time. It is now time for the breakout session. So make sure you grab your mystery packet. You had 2 books to choose from today. We have Miss Edmondson and Miss Ellis who
Gotta go.
are their time. Okay. And if you have questions, I'll be in the main session when I release you in just a second. What you're going to do is you'll click on join. I'm going to hit open the breakout rooms. You're going to click join on the one that you want to attend. If you got the youngest marcher, you will click on this one. If you got the sweet story of hot chocolate, you'll click on this one. Okay. Thumbs up if you understand and you are ready to roll. All right. So let's get this party started. I'm going to go ahead and open. On your mark, get set, join. If you're not sure which one to go to, I can put you where you need to go to if you need help. Y'all just raise your hand, let me know. Jaquarius, which book did you get? Okay, I got you. Hold on. We'll put you where you go. Okay. Miss Welch, I'm gonna put you in the youngest marcher.
Haven got the youngest marcher.
Ma'am.
Haven got the youngest marcher. She's in the wrong group.
Okay. Haven. Where is Haven? Oh, how'd she get there? Okay. All right. Dariana, which one did you get, babe? I see you, Sydney. I got you. Sweet story. And Dariana got sweet story too. Okay. Makalia McCory, what'd you get? Which book? Hold your book up for me, sugar. And I'll put you where you're supposed to go. Do you not have a book? Okay, Mariah. Do you know which book you have, Mariah? Are you not sure? Jada, can you hear me, Jada?
to need to gather your materials and make sure you have some scissors and some glue. So go ahead, please, and get those items, and I will start the book shortly. The materials for your activity. So please get that. Okay.
Miss Ellis, can you turn your camera on?
If you're ready, we're gonna go on to lesson my camera.
Yes, ma'am. I can't see your camera. No, ma'am. Let me see.
My camera is not on. Ooh. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Do you see me now?
Yes. Yes, we can see you.
All right, now let's see. Okay. Okay, my camera on, everybody? Same thing missing? All right. Well, let's read because we all have a few. And please, let's follow along, okay? Good.
I'll show you. It's called The Youngest Marcher, the story of Audrey Faye Hendrick, a young civil rights activist. Remember the civil rights movement when we're thinking
Cheyenne, which book did you pick?
about.
You there, Cheyenne?
Pink one.
The pink one? Okay.
Properties when ground up and mixed with water and different ingredients, leaves, corn, or honey, fish drink as medicine, as well as something application. Yeah, I drink hot chocolate. Ever. I love hot chocolate. Hot, it's not 90 degrees outside. I'm probably still drinking hot chocolate. You'll find Miss Alicia drinking hot chocolate. All the time. The cacao beans were even used as a time money. With only big dinner with friends or family, you could trade 100 beans for a whole turkey. Whole turkey. Of course,